Hello everybody, I'm former WWE superstar Eugene, and today we're going to talk about the night Eugene was booed out of the building live on Monday Night Raw. Plus I'm going to take you behind the scenes with a never before heard story about how Eugene nearly ruined Monday Night Raw live on TV. Of all the things that I ever did with WWE and Monday Night Raw, this is one that a lot of people remember was Eugene's office. The bouncy house, the bouncy castle. And there I am, bouncing in the bouncy castle. So the next segment that Eugene was involved in, we see Eugene and Triple H bouncing in the bouncy house. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And Triple H is trying to manipulate Eugene into doing his bidding. He slides out as Triple H is talking to Ric Flair that they've set up a handicap match. And they called it a handicap match. There was a little tongue-in-cheek right there. But Eugene and Ric Flair and Triple H against Edge and Chris Benoit that night, main event in Winnipeg. And this was all had to do with Triple H's master plan on how to get the world title off of Chris Benoit and back on the waist of Triple H using Eugene. Triple H was stirring up Eugene, trying to get him a little upset for the match that night, trying to continually get Eugene on the side of Evolution. Triple H is telling Eugene that, William Regal's not his friend and Chris Benoit is not his friend. And for all the people that have been mean or rude to Eugene, that tonight's the night to take it out on Edge and Chris Benoit. And that's when Eugene hugs Triple H. And the most genuine, sincere hug that I think I could have mustered. Eugene said Triple H and Eugene were best friends.
As best friends! Yeah, as best friends.
And Eugene believed that. I mean, it was deep down, it was inside him. He thought that Triple H was now his favorite wrestler, but also his best friend. And in that embrace and that hug, my head is buried in his chest, and you can just see that little Triple H had that look on his face that let everybody know that he was playing Eugene. He was a no-good son of a you-know-what. And he said, yeah, Eugene, best friend. Now, the main event is where the story takes a huge turn with some absolutely great storytelling. And this was a hard-hitting match. They had Eugene start, which I think that was kind of a bold decision to have Eugene start. And Triple H was constantly trying to tell Eugene, you need to cheat. You need to do underhanded tactics to try to get the advantage on the two babyfaces, on Benoit and Edge. So we went for the handshake, of course. Benoit, being the honest babyface that he was, goes to shake Eugene's hand, and I could have hit him, I could have punched him, I could have kicked him, but I pulled him into a waistlock. Still a babyface move, still Eugene trying to play within the rules, but trying to take the advantage quickly. And the wrestling back and forth between Benoit and Eugene was phenomenal. I just watched it back, and I'm proud of what we did. It was good stuff. Triple H continually tries to convince Eugene to cheat. And I remember one spot in particular, towards the end of the match, Benoit has Triple H in the big crossface, and he's begging Eugene, come in. And Eugene comes in and makes a big save.
Triple H, let's tap out here! No, don't tap out! Oh, Eugene!
I remember feeling emotionally torn as best I could, being in the moment, doing what I was supposed to do as a performer, that I was really emotionally torn. I don't need to be cheating, but yet that's what I am supposed to be doing. And the crowd immediately latched onto it. They started chanting, Eugene sucks. And that was the first time that the crowd had said anything really against Eugene. And I remember in there going wow, we must be doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing, because Eugene's conflicted and the crowd knows it too. Right here in Winnipeg, they're chanting Eugene sucks.
They're saying Eugene sucks! That's a shame. That's Triple H's fault.
When, 10 minutes ago, they were screaming Eugene's name. The whole arena's littered with Eugene posters. I remember Eugene standing outside the ring. I had the chair in my hand while the action was continuing in the ring. Benoit snatches what I thought was going to be a crippler crossface, but it was a sharpshooter. And there Triple H is staring at me. I'm outside the ring with the chair. Eugene, help me again. Please help me. One more time, can you help me? And Eugene slides in, and it was that conflict of good and evil in my head, knowing that I shouldn't hit him with the chair because that's wrong, that's illegal, the referee's down, but yet my best friend Triple H is begging me to do it, and I'm on this team and we need to win. And I reared back and I hit Benoit in the back as hard as I could. And then really the conflict in Eugene's head really spun out of control then because he knew he did something wrong. He knew he did something that he shouldn't have done. And I remember then the crowd really started to boo.
But he did the right thing. He didn't do the damn right.
Major heat. And not, Eugene never really got any heat throughout my whole career. I mean, there were times where people might have booed Eugene because of the instance, but this was heat. You know what I mean? They wanted to see Triple H tap out right there in Winnipeg, and I stopped it with the chair. But I remember being upset at myself, like in the moment, being the character, like I shouldn't have done that. Triple H, of course, he hit the pedigree. 1, 2, 3, Benoit gets pinned, and we're all leaving. Flair, Triple H, Eugene, backing up the ramp as the credits are starting to roll on Monday Night Raw. That's the end of the show. Eugene, Flair, and Triple H just won. They beat Edge and Chris Benoit, but what's going to happen Sunday on the pay-per-view? But you see Eugene's face is conflicted because I didn't know what side I wanted to be on. I knew that these guys, Edge, Chris Benoit, guys like William Regal were Eugene's friends. I mean, he knew that in his heart. But he wanted to be with Triple H because he was the coolest. He was his favorite wrestler. Ric Flair was 16 times world heavyweight champion. Of course, Eugene wanted to hang with him, and he was hanging with the cool kids. But he knew in his heart that that isn't where he needed to be. Eugene was involved in 6 segments on Monday Night Raw that night, or almost half of the entire night of Monday Night Raw featured Eugene. How many WWE superstars debut in April, and then by July 5th, they're on half the show, featured on half the show, not just in there smatteringly around? Well, Eugene was one of them. And this bouncy house castle was one of the most memorable things that people remember me for. It's awesome to know that I did it. It's like, it makes me feel cool. It makes me feel like, I've done something that people remember. Although it's kind of silly. I mean, how many bouncy house castles can you have on Monday Night Raw? I guess maybe only one. But to watch Triple H bouncing in the bouncy house castle and then fall out, Eugene comes out, "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay." Now, there's one behind the scenes thing. It's kind of hard to see. But if you watch this episode back, the second segment that Eugene was in was the first segment in the bouncy house that saw Randy and Batista and Ric Flair walking backstage, and they come upon the bouncy house. Now, the first part about this segment is I was bouncing in this house for all day long, so my calves are killing me. And Flair and all them were walking through it earlier in the day, and I think Flair slipped on some gravel or something and he fell down. He didn't get hurt. I mean, it's like a fall down. He jumped up. Everybody's laughing. Well, I'm bouncing still in the house. I'm bouncing it felt like 25 minutes I was bouncing in this house. Well, they're out there laughing. "Oh my gosh, Flair, you okay?" Dusting him off, and I'm just still bouncing because I couldn't see what was going on. I was inside this thing, and it was so loud. So we walked through this several times. Now, when we did it live on TV, and I'm bouncing, and I think I jumped and hit. And when I did, the generator for the bouncy house was very loud, and they didn't want it in the building because it distracted on the camera. So they had it outside the building, and a garage door was shut. Now, the air tube leading to the generator, or whatever it was, went underneath the garage door. And it still allowed for the air to come into the bouncy house. But when I landed on it live on TV, it shot a big bunch of air back down this tube, which forced the garage door up. So you can almost hear it go up, but what you can really hear in the segment is the generator. Yeah, it gets me in the background, which was kind of annoying. That's what they didn't want, but it was live on TV. So where do we go from there? Now, one last thing here, Eugene behind the scenes. I've been practicing my harmonica, right? Not one lesson, self-taught, thank you very much.